nothing to do with the sport from inception of the country?
All right, so equestrian sports, as you know, is an elitist sport. It's very expensive, and it's not like it hasn't been in existence. It's a sport that has over a century existence. Prominently, we have the polo and the horse racing. These are the prominent equestrian sports we have in Nigeria until recently, when we decided to introduce these new disciplines. So it's a sport that is very expensive, and I believe it's one of the reasons why it hasn't gained that prominence, because of how expensive it is. People having access to horses is difficult. You know, horses are very expensive, and their maintenance and all that. But the good thing now is with the likes of GD Academy, with the likes of other riding clubs that are coming up, and of course with the support of Nigerian Equestrian Federation and other stakeholders, we are trying to open up this access so that you don't necessarily have to own a horse before you can participate in equestrian sports. You can actually come to these riding academies or centers and register, and then go through the training procedures and preparations towards competing. So the sport has been in existence, but access points and of course some other challenges, have made it not gain the required attention, such as funding and challenge, such as infrastructure. We have limited infrastructure across the country. We have also the quality of horse care is not as it ought to. So there are several challenges which we are trying to overcome. So that's why it hasn't been that prominent as it ought to.
Has there been any time given that you are aware of that the government, as the Nigerian government, whether the state level, the local government level, or the federal level, has dedicated a particular fund or a particular time or a particular innovation to elevate the sport?
Yes, currently we are having several discussions with the ministries, the National Sports Commission, the Olympics Committee, and you see, the thing is, the existing equestrian sports, right, the polo and the horse racing are not Olympics disciplines. And I should also think it's part of the reasons why government have not really given the kind of support. Now, this industry, before now, like the polo, the horse racing, they haven't given it that economic outlook. Okay. Now, the federal government, with the coming on board of Nigeria Equestrian Federation, which has the Olympics registered discipline. Now, it means that people who participate in these sports can compete at the Olympics, and which is where the National Sports Commission, Nigerian Olympics Committee comes in, because now they can train athletes to participate in international events. So the government has actually shown serious interest, and we are having that discussion with the Olympics Committee. We are having that discussion with the National Sports Commission to promote the sport. So it's at the moment, I would say, gaining that required attention, but a lot needs to be done.
Well said. Well, we will just come into the studio where we have Madam Vanessa Asuni here with us. You are from the private sector, and you obviously agreed to some of what you said. What brought you to the sport? Because it's obvious that you probably be the only one in Lagos or thereabout, not less than 5, doing this. What's the motivation behind a sport that lasts so much of followership?
Thank you. Equestrian sports and working with horses is something that requires the knowledge, the passion, and also a great deal of dedication. And this is one of the reasons why you don't see many people doing it. You have to bear in mind that we're working with live animals that are huge, and one really needs to know what they're doing in order to do it properly. So the way it started for me was that I started very young at 5.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we had something called the Ikeja Saddle Club here in Lagos, and my parents were members of that club. I started riding there, fell in love with horses, and was able to turn my passion into a career by starting the Lagos Polo Club Riding Academy and then Giddy Up Horse Riding Academy. So those are the two riding facilities, academies that are available here in Lagos.
Well, sir, and probably for a sport like this, there'll be so much challenges. For you on the private sector angle point of, what have you done to overcome these challenges?
You see, we don't look back, we keep going. And because I'm fueled by passion, there's no need to wait for anybody. And once they see like what is happening now, they're seeing what we're doing, they're seeing how Giddy Up is empowering the youth, not just those that are able to afford equestrian sports, like Dr. Obiora and you stated correctly, it is quite an expensive sport. So what we do at Giddy Up is we also empower the youth. We empower those kids who on a normal day would not even dream of coming near horses, which is why we have our equine youth empowerment program. So kids from the barracks, kids that would usually not do it, we bring them in, we train them, we teach them how to ride in exchange for helping out at the stables with the horses in their free time.
Obviously, you have. Let me bring Doctor into this particular conversation now. She has stated so well what she's doing and the passion. On the side of the government, is there any model avenue or a model infrastructure in place to also encourage those that we want to be part of this? Like she has rightly stated, a passion. So far, so good. Has there been anything on the side that the government have pushed to the forefront that will probably enable people like her to continue their passion?
All right, so we are currently making some propositions to the federal government and state governments to develop infrastructures for equestrian activities in the states and the federal level. And like I mentioned, it's a sport that hasn't gotten the required attention until recently. But the federal government is we actually proposing to set up a national equestrian center.
Okay.
It's part of the proposition the federation put in to open up that access point for clubs, for youth, and even for international events to hold. Because as it is now, assuming there's an international event is to hold, we don't even have a very standard equestrian center that we can use for such. Yes, we do have some polo club has their own pitch, horse racing pitch and all, but for also these new disciplines, we don't have a center that we can actually have such sports. So we are having discussions with the federal government to maintain some of the existing infrastructures in the states, equip them with infrastructure, equip them with what the youth can use for their training and performance. And then also setting up the National Equestrian Center that would open up that, gives you that international link, so that if tomorrow the FEI wants to host an international event in Nigeria, such centers can, be a place. Especially also as we are looking at beginning the Nigeria Equestrian League next year. It's also a league that can attract investment and that can open up the sector as well.
Okay. Well said, Doctor. And Vanessa, let's not look. He was also there when the second edition. What's the whole equestrian giddy game what's all about? Because we saw a lot of different kind of horse races. Tell us about.
Okay, so the Giddy Up horse riding and show jumping competition is for, the kids to come and showcase their talents and what they've been doing. So equestrian sports and horse riding is not just something you do. It's more of a lifestyle. It's a hobby. It's something that you keep doing. These kids eventually want to be able to own their own horses and, take care of the horses and keep riding. Horse riding has so many benefits So we had the obstacle course competition for those that were on the lower level that can't jump yet. And this showcased how well they're able to control their horses. We also had the show jumping on junior division and senior. So for the seniors, we allowed the kids from our Equine Youth Empowerment Program to come and also showcase, and which we gave cash prizes to them, thanks to our sponsors. So this is what it's all about.
So, what area do you think we need the president and the public sector to encourage such sports? Now that Dr. Obiora was there yesterday, from the government's angle of collaboration, what role do you need the government to do to strengthening the sport in the country?
Well, that's a very good question. I think Dr. Obiora is on track when he says we need a center that actually knows exactly how to groom these youths to learn about the whole equestrian sports and just the facilities, the horses. I'm also very big on animal welfare. It's not just about getting horses and keeping them there. It's, can you maintain the horses? Can you maintain the facility? Are you able to, give them the proper care so that when people see, if you see our horses, they're very well looked after, and we put a lot, that comes first. Without the horses, there's no equestrian sports. So it's very important to put these animals who are serving us, giving us the opportunity to do this, put them first. The people that are taking care of the animals also take care of them and empower them, teach them the right ways and the wrong ways. And when we're able to do that, everything will go smoothly.
The other parts that I need to say before I come to Dr. Obiora is there's a connection between some of the riders and the horses. How long does it take to connect? Because I know for a dog, the connection is maybe divine. But for horses, does it come that way? What does it take for a child to get connected to an horse? Because I can see some of the child controlling the horse, and the horse is really obeying some of them.
Yes, that's a very good question. And to answer that, horses are even more intelligent than dogs. They recognize sense. They recognize people. They remember. And they they can sense everything. They know who is scared, they know who is anxious, which is why we have something like equine assisted therapy. So if you, at our event, we actually had one of the riders compete who is on the spectrum, and he comes and rides and he loves it, he enjoys it, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to give this kind of opportunity to kids in this part of the world. And I'm sure there's so much you need to do to ensure, and that should be for Dr. Obiora right now, there's so much the government needs to do to ensure that the sport penetrates. Is there an initial resistance of interest in the sport? I mean, there should be so much to do on the grassroots. What do you think the role the government needs to entail that the sport gets to the grassroots, even if not in practice, in knowledge?
All right, I can tell you that we don't have resistance. There are lots of interest. Actually, there are lots of interest among youth. We've had some grassroots programs across the country, and the enthusiasts are very passionate. One thing about this sport is passion, and that passion can drive you to any length. So we could see that passion among the youth who want to get involved. And by the way, Nigeria has a rich cultural heritage in horses.
Definitely.
It's a heritage that has spanned over a century. So it's not new to us. It's something that we love. But then with the right collaboration, with the right investment, with the right support from the government, and truthfully, it's not just about the government, because the government has lots to do, So that's why we are really encouraging the private sector to come in and support, sponsorship, training, providing this infrastructure and all. And it's something that can really open up the equestrian space, create opportunity, job opportunities, and even boost local economies. So it's a big space, it's a big sector that with the right support will really do a whole lot. In one of our conversations, I did mention that this sport has the potential of bringing in about $500 million annually into the coffers of Nigerian economy.
On that,
and
Doctor.
this is the fact,
Let's
when
see,
it's properly harnessed.
Well said, but one aspect I think probably will do so well for development of the sport is train the trainers. I saw there were 3 judges on that day, and how many of the judges do we have, or how many of the technical know-how person is the federation having, or what are they doing in ensuring that other people get to know about the sport, and training the trainer kind of scheme that will also I tell you, it's a big privilege for me. My years of sport journalism, broadcasting, this is my first time of having anything to do with this sport. So what's the government, the role of the federation doing to ensure that there's always a training the trainer scheme to ensure that people know the rules? Because journalists, we need to put down our reports, we need to write the technical, who won, how the scores are being counted. What role is the federation doing in regards to that?
All right, so the federation has a national coaching program. That's level 1, level 2, and level 3. So it's a national program for people who are interested. Currently, we have about 20 coaches and judges who have undergone this training. So, and it's an ongoing program, and it's open to every individual who is interested to be part of this industry. So it's a program well structured that takes you from grassroots to advanced level of coaching and officiating the events. Okay.
So, Dr. Vera, Vanessa Asuni, we'll go on this quick break where we'll come back. There'll be so much question to ask, and definitely to get a lot of people aware about this beloved and noble sport. Don't go away. It's TV360 Sport Nigeria. Welcome back. Still 360 Sport. If you want to be part of the program, you can join us on all our social media platforms where the conversation never ends. And if you're just joining us, we have Vanessa Asuni, who is the founder of Equestrian Giddy Up Services, and the Federation president, that's talking about Dr. Obiora Anthony, who is the president of Nigerian Equestrian Federation. On the final note today, I want to go with Vanessa to tell us the list of 1 or 2 things that can just change the sport around under 2 years.
Okay. So this exposure that we're having is great for equestrian sports. This is something that will really put us on the platform and enable us to cement our youth in that global equestrian space. It's something that once people are more aware of, we know that they will want to come and do it. And with the support of our government, it will really help us, accelerate this goal, and also the support of the Nigeria Equestrian Federation as well.
Okay. Also, Doctor, I want to use the example of the Archery Federation, which have been involved for a very long time in the development of the sport. So there's a lot of issues going on between the Archery Federation presidents and also the stakeholders. Something I'm aware of, and I've played a great role in that. Meanwhile, while everything is going on, there's so much of private sector that has made archery go beyond the federation. How much are you going to collaborate with so much of your private sector, like Giddy Equestrian Services and the rest? How much support are you willing to give? Because I know that the private sector in this part of our country always do so much innovation that also encourage the public sector. So tell us about what you tend to do to